Well, today I'm 10,000 days old. Somehow, about 18 months ago, I figured out that my 10,000th day birthday was coming up. And so I set it as a reminder on my phone, and I got thinking, like, what do I, where do I want to be when I'm 10,000 days old? And, well, here I am along the Missouri River on Lake Sakakawea.
I'm heading down to the river, boy.
Growing up, I spent as much time outdoors as possible. Learning to ski when I was 4 was the beginning of realizing the possibilities of time in nature. My love of water would come a few years later when I learned to water ski and spent many summer evenings whipping back and forth behind a boat. I grew to associate the seasons with outdoor activities, rather than just changes in weather or what professional sports were on TV. As I sat at my desk in my first post-college job, the daydreaming got worse and worse. There was certainly something missing from the mundane daily grind. The few days off I had every year wasn't going to allow me to experience anything uniquely new. For years, I've read books, blogs, and watched countless movies about people embarking on grand adventures all over the world. I was finally ready to trade my small city apartment for a tent and electrical plugs for a solar panel. The intention was to get totally lost in the journey, for it to take me places and show me things that few have seen. I came up with a plan and set it in motion. The plan was to stand-up paddleboard down the length of the Missouri River.
All those plans got lost on them dusty old roads.
From the comfort of my apartment, I took the first tangible step toward the trip. I ordered a 14-foot-long wooden stand-up paddleboard kit from Chesapeake Lightcraft and went to work in a friend's airplane hangar. Doubts about the feasibility of the journey occasionally crept in, but part of the point was that it would be at the limit of what I thought I could do. I was doing this not to set a record, but out of curiosity. I couldn't sit behind a computer every day and read about other people's adventures anymore. I had to get out and create a trip that would influence the rest of my life. I knew there'd be a chance that I'd regret leaving my stable job to travel down a river, but I also knew I would definitely regret it if I didn't. I head west, toward the mountains and new opportunities. My friend Josh decides to join me for the drive, and with a not quite complete board strapped to the top of my car, we head for the Grand Tetons. We get a final coat of varnish on the board in a rental tent cabin and explore the area. Just 2 days before I'm to launch down the Missouri, I carry my board to Jackson Lake for a test paddle. After about 100 yards, I deem it fit for 2,300 miles. Through Yellowstone, towards Three Forks, Montana we go. All right, we didn't have any champagne, but we got a can of Moose Drool Brown Ale. Seems a little more appropriate to christen a new boat. It's gonna be going down the Missouri River. So I christened the Muddy Moose of the Missouri. As I catch my first glimpse of the headwaters, I get a bit intimidated. The water looks faster than I was expecting. It was an interesting feeling to be strapping 100 pounds of gear and food onto a board that had been in the water for maybe 3 minutes. Though I spent years imagining this moment, it's anything but anticlimactic. Here I am, making the first miles in what I hope to be a journey of a lifetime. As my initial trepidation slowly fades into relief that this dream is finally reality. It's just been grueling leading up to this, getting everything ready and finalizing all the details. You know, a couple years of dreaming of it. finally is happening. Hasn't set in yet that I'm gonna be paddleboarding down the Missouri River to St. Louis, but I'll just take it one day at a time to see what happens. The second day begins with a portage, an activity I'll now be dreading. However, uneasiness continues to melt away as I soak everything around me in. The Missouri River is now my home for the next few months. Sitting by the entrance to Canyon Ferry Lake. It's my first lake. It's about 25 miles long, and I guess it gets about 5 miles across. Hoping to make it in a day. Weather's perfect. The water looks calm for now. Apparently this lake can blow up fast and get pretty wavy, but hopefully this cloudless, windless day continues. It does not continue. The wind builds until it gusts 30 miles an hour in my face. The only way to make progress is to walk. There are 700 miles of lakes ahead. I'm a bit worried. The next day is glassy calm and reveals a theme that will hopefully persist for the whole trip. The day of struggle is rewarded with cooperative conditions and inspiring encounters. I've been laying here in my tent for about 3 hours now. The sky started clouding up. It was real rough. The wind was in my face really strong all day, and I was only going an average of 2 miles an hour. With the sky finally relenting, I head toward an area that Meriwether Lewis described in his journal in July of 1805 as follows. This evening we entered much the most remarkable cliffs that we have yet seen. The river appears to have forced its way through this immense body of solid rock. From the singular appearance of this place, I called it the Gates of the Rocky Mountains. It's been raining in the last few days, and combine that with all the waves I've been getting, most of my clothes are pretty damp. I've taken over about 6 picnic tables here and trying to get everything dried out because it'll be about 6 more days before I stop at an actual town, do some laundry. I dry out and promptly get rained on again. But after fighting through a series of windy lakes, I'm headed out into a couple 100 miles of current. Pure joy at 6 miles an hour. If there's one person I want to spend some of this trip with, it would be my dad. Growing up, he made sure we spent a lot of time together outdoors, which formed so many of my interests. After flying a couple 1,000 miles, we meet Riverside in Fort Benton, Montana, and set out together for the White Cliffs. Lewis wrote of this place, "It seemed as if those scenes of visionary enchantment would never have an end." My dad and I launched on the river this morning. He's joining me for about 150 miles, and we just stopped for lunch. What do you think so far, day one?
It's been fun, and scenery's been pretty good. No dams to portage.
How's that canoe doing for you?
Canoe's doing great.
My dad's provided me with so many experiences and opportunities. I'm happy to now be the one bringing something new to him.
Did 2 good hikes today. Up a narrow canyon and up on this bluff overlooking the river called Hole in the Wall. Good day, good day.
All right, we're at lunch on day 5. My dad's just finished his 7th or 8th set of freeze-dried scrambled eggs. Now, what are we eating here?
Apple cobbler, freeze-dried apple cobbler. It's really good. It's little chunks of apple with some sort of sugary, pasty-like stuff. It's really good.
There you have it. With a total loss of appetite for freeze-dried food and the grossest either of us has ever felt in our lives, we part ways after a memory-filled week together. My dad toward a shower and comfortable bed, and me toward the third biggest lake along the Missouri, 130-mile-long Fort Peck Lake. Well, I reached Fort Peck today, the mythical Fort Peck. Pretty much every local I've run into has said, oh, the wind can blow out there. You can see 4 to 6 foot waves, white caps. I decided to just sleep in and make what little progress I can today. I'll probably have to walk and line the boat along shore most of the day. Oh man, today was a tough day. I just had this constant headwind for like 2 days. My average speed was 1.9 miles an hour. But you know what? It's all right, because I ended my day on this rocky dirt beach watching the sunset. It's actually pretty nice. It's a big lake. I've had 4 days of constant headwind. Day 5 on Fort Peck Lake, and I'm just covered in bugs. Sitting on an island with my tumbleweed friend here. It's me and tumbleweed. Actually, it's only been 22 days paddling, so I haven't gone crazy yet. I reached the dam after 6 days of a currentless lake. A moment of considerable relief. Fort Peck was a battle, but also held raw beauty and wonderful solitude. I just crossed into North Dakota. Montana's behind me and North Dakota's in front of me. Can't wait to go back. I'm really glad I got to spend about 700 miles there. And the wind's in my back and the current's strong, so all in all, it's not too bad. Through the oil boom of western North Dakota and into the 200-mile-long Lake Sakakawea I go. After exactly 750 miles of paddling, disaster strikes. I realize I'm sinking. 20 minutes prior, as waves crashed against the shore, I tried to slide my fully loaded board over a log during a break. A protrusion from the log must have been the culprit. I drained the water and applied a repair, hoping it will hold. I came from that far shore over there, about 5.5 miles, and the repair seems to be holding real well on the board. So a couple miles down the shore, I'll be crossing over the lake. So just hope this repair holds. But I think it should be good to go until I hit another rock. It's pretty windy out right now. The wind shifted, and now it's a tailwind, but it's gusting to about 40 miles an hour. So hopefully it stays out of this direction and just slows down about 30 miles an hour overnight, and I can really make some distance tomorrow. A couple days later, I reached Bismarck, where I'll take a week off to spend with my girlfriend Rachel. The problem is, she won't be here for 4 days, so I paddle past and find a place to secure my gear before hitching a ride 60 miles by road back to the city. After a couple months apart, Rachel drives 13 hours for us to be together on her week off. Her support before and during the trip means more than I can say. The time spent together allows me to relax and refocus. I'm very appreciative to have this time together. leaving me with instructions to paddle to the finish and get home as quickly as possible. Rachel heads out for the long trip home as wind howls across the lake. I thought I might get a bit lonely on the river, but truth is, I meet interesting and welcoming people almost every day. One of them is KJ Moser, who is the owner of the campground I'm at, as well as a rancher. You can imagine my excitement as he invites me to ride along as he medically treats some cattle with a dart gun. Staying at the same campground and making his way down the river is a guy with a rare amount of determination. I'm here with Sean. He's paddling this giant pink canoe. It's a 3-man canoe. Tell me about it.
Oh shit, made it with 3 people in mind. Had it pretty much completed with 3 people in mind. About a week before we left, right before we put in the seats, one buddy backed out. Other buddy went home day 16, so it's just been me and a 170 plus pound canoe.
This thing's a big canoe. Into the longest of the lakes, the 220-mile Lake Oahe, and into South Dakota I go. From the water, when you come into Mobridge, South Dakota, you can see a fast food burger joint. So I thought I'd do that for dinner. The problem is, it's through these mud flats here, which weren't too bad. And then you gotta push through these weeds, which was a little rough. And then you climb a hill, and you push through some more weeds and cross a railroad track, and then you're there. It was pretty delicious. But I gotta make some distance, the sun's going down, and this is not a good camp spot, so I better get going. For over 200 miles long, I was happy to have completed the longest of the lakes.
The river's gonna set us free. We're going down by the river.
After a comfortable stop and pier, I battled my toughest challenge, Lake Sharp. This lake almost crushed me. It was 80 miles of uninhabitable shoreline, rain, and headwinds. So much wind. Also, the mouse chewed its way into my tent while I was sleeping and pooped in my hat.
Hard times gonna let us be.
I got less than 1,000 miles to go, and this is the part of the trip where it gets tough. It's about 100 more miles of lake, and I just got to push through it. But the problem is I've had a fever the last couple days and just body aches and a headache. So I don't know, what to make of that. I don't want to push too hard because I still have a month left. But at the same time, I just want to get this done and get off these lakes, get into the current. And I definitely got my eye on the end, and I just have to push through, but also stay healthy enough. So it's going to be that balance. I'm getting pretty mentally tired of it as well as physically tired, but I just gotta keep my eye on the prize, and I'll get there eventually. With summer temperatures now hitting 100 and my body revolting, I start having the most fortunate encounters with river angels, people who seek to help, expecting nothing in return. I was one day away from the last dam and feeling like death when I saw a golden retriever appear on an isolated shoreline. It belonged to a guy who had a cabin on overlooking bluff.
Yeah, when Scott paddled in, it was like coming to an oasis, more or less. Steve from Omaha.
And Pia, Steve's wife, originally from Colombia in South America, been in Nebraska for 14 years now.
Yeah, the ironic thing about this whole meeting here is that we're sea kayakers, and we spend a lot of time kayaking the Missouri National Scenic Riverway up here.
He and his wife not only graciously put me up for the night, but cooked me dinner and allowed me to do some much needed laundry. Air conditioning had never felt so good. The next day, I was picked up by a local paddler, Jared Beese, who tries to help as many paddlers as he can who reach his hometown by the last dam in Yankton, South Dakota.
Admire, I guess, the adventurous spirit and have some of it myself. And golden rule, I guess, more than anything. I think I already always know the why question on people coming down the river because it's so beautiful. I guess because the river is, I've had proximity to it almost my whole life and live here now by choice so that I can be closer. And so when other people get to come here and see what I see every day, I like to sort of get that contact high of their experience.
For the next 2 days, I was taken care of by a guy I met when he offered to portage me around the second to last dam, while his family was spending the weekend at the lake upriver from their home.
I'm Seth Rubidoff from Elk Point, South Dakota. I ran into Scott here at Fort Randall Dam. We were sitting on the beach and we watched him paddle in and wondering who the heck would be on a stand-up paddleboard with that much gear on it. Started talking to him and found out his story and helped him across the dam, and met up with him a few days later at Vermilion. He stayed at a cabin right on the river there, a buddy of mine's, and then last night ended up staying here near Jefferson, South Dakota with me. And it's been a good experience. I don't know if I would want to be him, but maybe I would.
I made it to Iowa yesterday, state number 5. Now I run with the Iowa-Nebraska border for like 177 miles. And I've also entered the channelized section of the river. It's now contained and there's current, there's no more dams. I'm going like 5.5 miles an hour instead of 3 miles an hour or 2.5 miles an hour. It's pretty exciting. So just over 700 more miles. And it's all current the rest of the way to St. Louis. It's just a relief to be off those lakes and those dams and the crazy high winds of South Dakota. I'm so happy there's no more lakes, no more winds, no more dams of South Dakota. I mean, I'll still have the wind, but at least I have current to help me along. And, you know, I was really happy to get out of South Dakota because of the terrain, but I met some of the greatest people of the trip along the way, and I really have an appreciation for the states. So I'll be sad to leave because of that, and I have a lot of good memories, but I'm happy to be in the current and moving on. After following her for almost 3 months, I finally caught up to a remarkable woman on a very long voyage.
I'm Janet Moreland, and I'm paddling down the Missouri River on my kayak all by myself. I started at the ultimate source at Brower Spring in the Centennial Mountains at the Continental Divide, in the snow, skiing, and I am headed for the Gulf of Mexico.
Janet heads out as I remain in Omaha. I spend the next 2 nights sitting around a fire with a group of folk musicians at my campground.
They take so long to pass, nothing but that lonesome sounding wind and the weaving of the grass.
I tell them stories from my trip, and in the morning as I pack to leave, they surprise me with my own song.
Scott will paddle his boat on down the Missouri. Scott will paddle his boat on down the Missouri.
I find Janet once again, and we paddle as the miles fade away. Her outlook on the trip helped me focus less on hitting daily mileage goals and more on enjoying this totally unique experience. 554 more miles to go, about 1,800 miles behind me. Well, Janet, where are you from? What state?
Missouri.
And where are we right now?
We're in Missouri. there's a sign. I wonder if it says something. Goodbye, Iowa. Hello, Missouri. Sweet home, my Missouri.
7? We made it to Kansas, state 7 of 7.
Goodbye, Nebraska. Hello, Kansas.
I have less than a week left of the Missouri River. I'm standing in front of the 200-mile marker sign, which indicates 200 miles until the Missouri meets the Mississippi, and shortly after that, the trip's over. It's hard to even process the last 101 days on the river. There's so much, it's hard to put into words. I have a lot of time to think out there, and it's still just hard to put into words. It's been quite a trip. I have 11 more miles of the Missouri River left. I just set up my tent for the last time, and tomorrow I'll be in St. Louis. I'm gonna roll in with a bunch of friends and some family. For the last couple hours, they'll be paddling with me. It's been a solo trip, but there's been so many random people who have helped me out along the way, and friends and family back home that have just been my support system, and I can't be more thankful for that. So it's fitting that a solo trip ends surrounded by a bunch of people on the water. With a magnificent beard, I paddle away from the quiet of the river and toward the bustle of civilization. Behind me, 2,300 miles of memories and a lack of regrets. I've just reached the confluence of the Missouri over my right shoulder and the Mississippi over my left. I've done it. 2,341 miles, 107 days, about 80 days paddling, a lot of wind days off and some rest days. It feels good. This is just a crazy off-the-wall dream a couple years ago, and now I've made it happen. It feels awesome. It's a perfect day outside. It's been raining for like a week, and the day I finished, there's not a cloud in the sky. It's a little chilly. It feels great. Oh, it's just been such a crazy journey. I couldn't have written it better. So many unexpected things happened to me, and met great people along the way. It's really restored my faith. My family, Rachel, and several other supportive friends made the trip to paddle the last 10 miles with me to the Arch. The last 4 months were exactly what I was looking for. The pace of life was whatever the river allowed. I lived outdoors and truly lived every hour of the day. If you're thinking of doing something like this, do it. spiders. The mosquitoes out there are unbelievable. It's been a beautiful lake and it's amazing, but it's so many bugs. Thousands, just hundreds of them just landing on my pants, and it was just a swarm like I've never seen before. There's these biting flies, a little bit of mosquitoes, and then gnats, and oh my god, the bugs out here are just unbelievable.